This is a continuation of introduction of pre-stressed concrete structure part 1. Okay, today we will discuss the type of pre-stressing, external or internal pre-stressing. If pre-stressing elements are provided at outside of the concrete structure is known as external pre-stressing. The best example is that tendons are provided at the outside of the box girder or eye girders or walls. If tendons are provided within the concrete structures is known as internal pre-stressing. Okay, in the next picture you can see that you can see get idea. You can get a clear idea. This is entire section is box girder. This is a top flange and bottom flange, corrugated steel web, and this is a diaphragm, your cross diaphragm. See at the top concrete flange, you can get internal tendons. You can see the internal tendons. In the bottom concrete flange, the external tendons provided as well as internal tendons are provided. The external tendons are provided at the outside of the bottom concrete flange. Hence, this is called as external pre-stressing. Few tendons are placed within the concrete flange. It is known as internal pre-stressing. In the next picture, okay, this is the example for unbounded external post tensioning. Unbounded means there is no concrete around the tendons. External means the tendons are provided at the outside of the concrete structure, and post tensioning means the tension is provided in the tendons after hardening of concrete. So this is the meaning for unbounded external post tensioning. Unbounded means no concrete around the tendons. External means the tendons are placed at the outside of the concrete structure, and post tensioning means the tendons are tensioned after hardening of concrete. This picture clearly gives an idea of unbounded external post tensioning, which that method is adopted in this box girder. Next, pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. If tensions are applied within tendons before hardening of concrete is known as pre-tensioning. The tendons are pre-tensioned before hardening of concrete is known as pre-tensioning. In case of post-tensioning, the tendons are tensioned after hardening of concrete is known as post-tensioning. The pre-compression from steel to concrete is transmitted through the bond or a transmission length at the end of section in the pre-tensioning members. In case of post-tensioning, the pre-compression is applied. Pre-compression is transmitted from steel to concrete by the anchorage device, which were provided at the end blocks, at the end of the member. Okay, so now you can get clear ideas. So mainly that the compression is applied to the concrete by the steel or tendons via bonding or anchorage. The bond through the bonding in the pre-tensioning method, through the anchorage in the post-tensioning method. Next, linear pre-stressing. When the axis of the pre-stressing member is coincides with axis of tendons, hence it is called as linear pre-stressing. For example, pre-stressing of beams, piles, poles and slabs. When the axis of the member in the circular pattern, then it is known as circular pre-stressing. For a circular beam, the circular pre-stressing to be adopted. Then a circumferential pre-stressing of tanks, silos and pipes. In this picture you can see pre-stressing jack, anchorage heads. So these two are anchorage head and negative campering, connection reinforcement here, injection pipe. Okay, this pipe is used to inject the mortar in case of post tensioning. Okay, this pre-stressing jack which calibrated. Okay, how much magnitude of force is applied to the tendons, and this is the example for linear pre-stressing. Okay, a long girder, a deep beam. Okay, we know that the deep beam is called as girder. Losses of pre-stress happened due to friction in linear pre-stressing method. To avoid the losses, the circular pre-stressing can be adopted. The circular pre-stressing is applied over the sectors of the circumference. See, this is circumferential member. Okay, here pre-stressing is adopted over a sector. So consider this is sector 1, next sector and next sector. Each sectors are connected by buttress. This buttress is helpful helpful to anchorage of the tendons along the circumference. Okay, when you are adopting the circular pre-stressing, the losses can be eliminated. The next, fully limited or partial pre-stressing. As per IS 1343/1980, type 1 gives a full pre-stressing and type 2 is limited pre-stressing and type 3 is a partial pre-stressing. In type 1, there is no tension. In type 2, type 2 pre-stressing, that is a limited pre-stressing in which tensions are allowed, and in type 3, the partial pre-stressing, the tensions are allowed but within the permissible limit. In type 2, tensions are permitted within the kernel section. Okay. For example, the external load, if the external load on a structure, say 50 kilonewton to 1000 kilonewton, which means that the structure may subject to up to 1000 kilonewton. The structure may be subjected to up to 1000 kilonewton, but the frequency of occurring 1000 kilonewton is very less. That 1000 kilonewton is occurred very rarely. It will come occasionally over the structures. Meanwhile, frequency of regular passing load is high. The frequency of regular passing load is high, say 500 kilonewton to 400 kilonewton. So this is a frequency of regular passing load. Now we no need to pre-stress for rarely occurring load of 1000 kilonewton and can do the pre-stressing to the 500 kilonewton only. We can do the pre-stress for the partial load of 1000 kilonewton. The crack may develop under the heavy load and the cracks may close down when such a loads leave the structures. We know that this is serviceability design. Hence, hence IS 1343 gives a design of fully pre-stressing, limited pre-stressing and partial pre-stressing. Next, uniaxial pre-stressing. When pre-stressing is done in a particular direction only, in only one direction, this is called as uniaxial pre-stressing. The example is pre-tensioning in beams. Biaxial pre-stressing. When pre-stressing are provided in the both direction, like x direction as well as y direction, this is called as biaxial pre-stressing. The example is pre-stressing adopted in slabs. Multi-axial pre-stressing. When the tendons are provided in all direction, this is known as multi-axial pre-stressing. It means that the tendons are provided in more than two axes. The best example is domes, pre-stressing of domes. So now, if pre-stressing is pre-stress is provided in this direction only, this is uniaxial. If pre-stress is provided in this direction as well as in this direction, is known as biaxial. If pre-stress is provided in all the direction, like here, here, right, If tendons are provided in all the direction is known as multi-axial pre-stressing. In the slab which provided at the bottom of circular water tank, okay, the pre-stressing of slab at this circular water tank, the multi-axial pre-stressing is adopted. Okay, the next slides, nature of concrete steel interface. What is the nature existing in between concrete and steel interface? So based on there are two type of tendon. One is bonded tendon and unbonded tendon. As we discussed in the previous slides, bonded tendon means there is an adequate bond between concrete and tendon. There is a sufficient bond is provided in between tendon and concrete, then it is called as bonded tendon. Pre-tension and grouted post-tensioned tendons are the best example for bonded tendon. Okay, in pre-tensioning method, the concrete is provided around the tendons. Hence, bond was developed. Similarly, grouted post-tensioning tendons, in the method of grouted post-tensioning tendons, the proper bond was developed. But in case of unbonded tendon, there is no bond between concrete and tendon. This is called as unbonded tendon. When the grout is not applied after force tensioning, this is called as unbonded tendon. If grouting is done after in post tensioning method, this is known as bonded tendon. Okay. So in post tensioning there are two types. One is bonded tendon and another one is unbonded. If grouting is done in the post tensioning system, this is known as bonded. If grout is not done in post tensioning tendons, hence it is classified as unbonded tendon. So now we can able to see bonded post tensioning, unbonded post tensioning. In bonded post tensioning, there is some special vent. This is called as grout vent. This is a grout vent. Okay, this grout vent is used to grouting purpose. Okay, after hardening of concrete, after tensioning of tendons, the grout is injected through this vent. But in this case of unbonded post tensioning, there is no such a provision. It is only anchored with the help of anchoring. Okay, here also anchorage black, but there is no vent here. So in this picture you can see the strand nothing but tendon, and this is wedge grips, anchorage guide, anchorage block, and another dead end. Okay, this is a dead end. So this is a clear image of tendons. A HTP coated is provided outside of the tendon, and grease is provided in between the tendons, and this is PC strand nothing but tendons. So this is a practically done in the casting ad. You can see the tendons. Okay. Next, stages of loading. So there are three stages. One is initial stage, intermediate stage, and final stage. In initial stage, it is classified as during the tensioning of steel and at transfer of pre-stress to the concrete. Second one is intermediate stage. Intermediate stage nothing but while handling of the structures, while handling of the pre-stressed structures, that is a intermediate stage. Final stage, it can be divided into two stages: at service during the operation, at ultimate during extreme events. Advantage of pre-stressing: reduction of steel corrosion and increase in durability. Full section is utilized. Higher moment of inertia is adapted. Nothing but the stiffness is increased, and it is subject. It improves the serviceability criteria.